Hello everyone, welcome to Herald Global. Joining us today, Dr. Prajal Sakhardande, a distinguished Goan historian, author, and academic whose work has been pivotal in preserving Goa's cultural identity and historical narrative. A vocal heritage and environmental conservationist, is an active campaigner of preserving Goan heritage sites like Tonka and Vasco Clock Tower. Let's deep dive into his journey. I am Saimik and you're watching FastTrack. Let me begin by asking you, what inspired you to pursue a career in Goan history?
Right from the beginning, I was interested in history and particularly history of Goa. So history of Goa became a lifetime passion and mission. And
Sure.
we are having a group called Goa Heritage Action Group, in which our mission is to preserve Goa's cultural, natural, and historical heritage. So I work in that field and I teach history for the last 32 years in the first college after Goa's liberation.
So you mentioned about Goa Heritage Action Group.
Yeah.
Any significant, milestone that you have achieved through this group itself?
Yeah, the Goa Heritage Action Group is completing 25 years. This
Sure.
30th September, we are completing our silver jubilee,
Okay.
and we are into there have been successes, there have been failures. We have moved the court on various occasions, to preserve
Okay.
heritage, basically historical buildings, historical and forts, monuments, historical sites, and we campaign for it. Not only built heritage, also natural heritage. Now, Goa is facing a lot of hill cutting.
Yes.
We are disturbed by that. There are mega projects coming up on the hills, so we are trying to save our greenery. We want to present a green Goa to the tourist who comes to visit Goa. Our natural heritage beaches are there. So natural heritage includes everything. So if we are also in preserving Goan cultural identity and Goa's heritage. So we have been working in this field for the last 25 years. In fact, we are the first independent heritage NGO of Goa.
Since you mentioned, how would you define Goa's cultural identity?
Goa's cultural identity, I would say first is the linguistic identity. That is, our mother tongue is Konkani. So when I speak in my house, I speak Konkani, and so that is one identity. Then in Goa is a little different from the rest of the states of the country because we were under Portuguese rule.
Yeah.
While the rest of the country was under British rule, Goa was under Portuguese rule, and the Portuguese left Goa in 1961, 14 years after our country's independence.
Yes.
And there is a kind of a fusion, it's a mixed culture. And in Goa, we have a lot of Portuguese influence on the architecture, music, food, and dressing styles. And in Goa, you find a fusion of Goa, of India and Portugal. So it's a mix. We are a fusion of India and Portugal. So it's a mixed kind of an identity. And we there are temples, there are churches, there are masjids, there are several things here, but the general impression of the people, outside Goa is that Goa is all about fun and frolic, and there's no culture here. I mean, we have a very beautiful culture. We have Indian culture, which is very beautiful, and we also have influence of Portuguese culture. So I feel that when you visit Goa, you feel a little different from when you have visited the rest of the country, the states of our country. But when you come to Goa, it's a different feeling in a sense. There is a lot of westernization and there's a Indianization also. I mean, both worlds you can see.
Okay, since you mentioned about culture, okay, can you put little focus on the Goan cuisine as a food? What is the history of?
Yeah, like for example, there is pre-Portuguese food, there is Portuguese food, and there has been influences from the rest of the country after Goa's liberation. Now, when you talk about Portuguese influence, pão was introduced by the Portuguese. We did not have bread here. We used to have bhakri made of nashni, of rice, and we used to have fish curry, we used to have rice. What the Portuguese introduced was bread and different types of bread, which we call pão. Then the Portuguese introduced various dishes like you have galina cafrial, meaning chicken cafrial, which is only found in Goa. Then you have ras omelette, omelette with chicken gravy. So you will find a lot of influence of Portuguese. I mean, they brought cashew. Cashew nuts are taken as souvenirs. Then they brought pineapples. They brought papayas. They introduced dishes such as balchao. They introduced dishes such as rissois. Portuguese and Goan mixed Indo-Portuguese dishes were born here. Like for example, bebinca, which is a cake which is found in Goa, has 7 layers. So you'll find different varieties of taste. Plus, we have our original Indian Goan food such as khatkhasen, which is a mixed local vegetable stew. Then we have mugacho gaki of beans. We have fodi, meaning fried rava fried vegetables. So we have a variety. We have vegetarian food which is very very tasty, the Saraswat cuisine, and we have very lovely vegetarian food. We have non-vegetarian food. The basic food of Goa is rice and fish curry. Like no Goan can do without fish curry and rice. The fish is very important.
It sounds very tasty. Everything. Okay. Please tell us about Safe Made project.
Safe Made issue. Our lifeline of Goa is the Mandovi River.
Okay.
And this river, Karnataka government is trying to divert to Karnataka.
Okay.
And now, apparently, they are trying to tell us that they want to provide potable water to Hubli and Dharwad districts of Karnataka. But this is the lifeline of Goa. Undoubtedly, Madai originates in Karnataka and flows 81 kilometers in Goa. Goa is based on Madai River. Goa's 6 talukas of Goa are fed by the Madai River. So waters of Madai River, that is Mandovi River. Madai is also known as Mandovi River. I live in Panjim, so our capital of Goa. So our city is laced by the Mandovi River. I stay very close to the Miramar beach, and our college is right opposite the Miramar beach. And that's where the mouth of the Mandovi River is. And the Karnataka government wants to divert this water. So we have a huge movement in Goa called Madai Bachao Abhiyan and Save Madai, Save Goa Front. So we have been fighting, we have been holding public meetings, we have been agitating to save our waters of the Madai River, because otherwise Goa's environment, Goa's greenery, Goa's fish, Goa will be totally denuded. It will be environmentally hazardous.
So what kind of support are you getting from the government in this initiative?
We are not getting any support from the government because we are fighting as an NGO. The government has a case in court against the Karnataka government. We as Madai Bachao Abhiyan also has a court in the Supreme Court. So it's both judicial activism, it's street activism, both the issues. So we have been having agitations on the street, trying to tell the Karnataka government and the Supreme Court cases going on that the waters of Madai are very much necessary for us. They are essential for us. Otherwise, Goa will be a totally dried up state and we can't think of any tourism, nothing.
Okay. So apart from that, any other Goan landmark which is at risk right now, which you would like to talk about?
Presently, we want to save our Old Goa World Heritage Site. Okay. We have a World Heritage Site called Old Goa, and there, although the UNESCO mandates that 1 kilometer from Old Goa, no development can take place 1 kilometer within. But you find that Old Goa, where there are 7 churches, World Heritage churches, where is the body of Saint Francis Xavier, you find that there's a lot of encroachment. There are a lot of violations, heritage violations. So we are demanding to the government a master plan. And we are telling the UNESCO that we need a master plan for Goa. So that's what. And we want to save our historical monuments. Our forts, we want to save our forts. Our forts are sea-facing, riverine forts. Then we want to save our palaces. We want to save our hills, our trees, our greenery, our beaches. There's a lot of CRZ violations where constructions are happening right on the beach. So we are opposing that. So we have, in fact, our plate is full. We have a lot of issues to fight for, and we want to save our fields. We want to save our historical monuments. We want to save our language. So we want to save Goan identity, Goan culture, Goa's heritage. So when a tourist comes to Goa, he comes with the idea that he wants to see Goa green. He and she wants to see Goa green. So, but of late we have seen that the greenery is being denuded. It is getting eroded, and constructions are happening on the hills, which we are opposing. Partly we are successful and partly we are not successful. Recently we won a heritage tag for a church in a village. Okay. So we have been fighting for heritage tags. We have been fighting for preserving historical monuments, and we have a number of success stories where we have saved historical monuments, got them notified, and got them heritage tags. And so our work is in that field. And I feel that history of Goa, there is a perception that Goa was only ruled by the Portuguese, and that's it. Like if you ask anybody what is the history of Goa, they say Goa was ruled by Portuguese. That's Portuguese. Not. There is a history to Goa which was before the arrival of the Portuguese, before 1510. We were here, we were ruled by Bhojas, we have various Kadambas, the Adil Shah, Vijayanagar, so many kings, kingdoms. We have those temples. We have beautiful temples in Goa. Like when you come to Goa, you must visit the Mahadev temple of Tamri Sulla. It's a very
Sure.
beautiful temple. So we have Kadamba architecture, we have Adil Shahi architecture, we have different types of architecture, art. It's a very beautiful state, and we are trying to preserve our state. In fact, every day we have a complaint to go either to the collector or to the government agency or the archaeology department. So we have to fight day to day basis.
So, what are you expecting from the youth of Goa to play a role in this movement itself, in terms of conservation and preservations of monuments of Goa?
Yes, I want the youth of Goa to come forward and stake a claim to save Goa. Now it is the cry is to save Goa, because what is happening is we find a lot of unwarranted development taking place. We are not against development. We are not asking for freezing of development, but the development has to be sustainable. No, we do not want our hills to be cut. We want our mother river to be saved. We want our historical monuments to show to the world. We want our heritage sites to be shown to the world. We want to promote heritage tourism, ecotourism. We want Goa garbage free. But what is happening is that there's a lot of these things happening on the beaches, or people are littering places with garbage. So we want the youth to come forward. I tell my students, like, if you find somebody littering or throwing garbage, tell that person not to do so, because I do it. I
Sure.
chase people when they throw garbage. I stop my car. I pick up that plastic bottle. We want to keep Goa plastic free. We do not want so Goa should be clean, green, and beautiful. We are very proud of the fact that we are part of a great country called India. No other. I have visited 22 countries, and I feel no other countries as heritage wise so rich as our country. You know,
Definitely.
yeah, and so we have different colors. We have fashion in Goa too. We have a mixture. We have the carnival, we have the shigmo. So we have Diwali, we have Goan festivals also. So we have a few. We have Christmas. We have Eid. We live in harmonious. We have a good harmonious relationship, and we want to continue. So the youth has to come forward to preserve heritage. The youth has to come forward, learn the history, and pass it on to the future generations for posterity. That is what our this is.
Okay. Please tell us about the conservation of Tonka Pillar and Vasco Clock Tower.
Now, apart from there are several monuments that we have got conserved. Now, one example I would give you of the Vasco Clock Tower. The Vasco Clock Tower was built by the Portuguese in 1938. So when I
Sure.
went on top of the clock tower, I found the date 1938. So we had a campaign, and in the campaign we said that the people should come forward and preserve this clock tower of Vasco City. Vasco City is a beautiful city on the Zuari River, where the airport is located close by.
Yes.
And so the clock tower had stopped clicking, showing time and all. So one industrialist, Mr. Suvarna Bandekar, he stepped in, and he said, I will fund the project and I will get it conserved. And we got a conservation architect, Ketak Nashnulkar, and we got the clock tower preserved, and it is clicking. Now ticking time, and people are now once again looking at it like they used to do it in Portuguese time. They used to look at the clock tower and look, okay, they should know it's at when it's at 12, it would that tong that sound. And Tonka pillar is a pillar here in Panjim, where I reside, close to my house, of 1859, and there was a Portuguese inscription on it, and I found it in a dilapidated condition. So we got together and we got it conserved. So like that, there are several, like we've preserved one gunpowder factory. There were 11 millstones which the builder wanted to landscape, So we
Okay.
got a campaign, and we said these gunpowder millstones have to be preserved. And today they are displayed outside the Archaeological Survey of India Museum. So there have been a lot of success stories. There have been failures also, where we have tried to save the temples, meeting with the temple committee, and we are trying to tell the temple committees that please save the old temples. We are not against building new temples, but save the old temples, save the Kavi art temples. But sometimes we have not been successful in saving the temples. Sometimes we have to campaign to save the chapels, the churches, the forts. And Resh Magos Fort has been beautifully conserved. So that is one fort. When you come to Goa, you must visit the Resh Magos
Sure.
Fort, where we had a hand in its campaign.
Okay. From the historical perspective, kindly shed light on the significance of Donapala.
Tonopal. Now, when you come to Goa, one spot you must visit. It is very close to my place where I live. And the tourist guides, when they misguide. I have seen the tourist guide telling the tourists, especially the domestic tourists, the foreign tourists, they have the magazine called Lonely Planet and they come well prepared. So like the tourist guides based on the film Ek Duje Ke Liye, there was a film called Ek
Yes,
Duje
yes.
Ke Liye, wherein the hero tells the heroine that there was a Portuguese lady called Donna and she was in love with a local fisherman called Paulo. They could not get married because she was rich, she was Portuguese, he was a poor fisherman, and they committed suicide from that spot, which is not true. It's folklore. The truth is, there was a woman called Paula. There was no Paulo fisherman. In Portuguese, they address a senior woman as Dona. So her name is Dona Paula Amaral de Menezes Antonio Sotomayor, a big name. And she was married to a Spanish Fidalgo. And she was living in Goa in 1644. And 1656, she got married. She died on 21st December 1682, as per the inscription. So in history, we have to go by the inscription. So, but what is told by the tourist guides is there was Donna, there was a Paulo fisherman, they were in
I've
love.
heard the story.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, so there are a lot of these misconceptions which I, as a teacher of history, as a student of history, and as a strong, a very serious student of history and a campaigner for history, I try to clarify through videos and other means. Yeah.
Okay. According to what role the government has played in preserving the cultural legacy of Goa?
I would not say the government has not played any role. The government has played a role, but there are a large number of monuments, there are a large number of historical sites, there are a number of sculptures. They need to be notified under the state archaeology or under the Archaeological Survey of India. Government is indulging in tree cutting. The government is indulging in hill cuttings. We do not want our hills to be cut. We do not want our fields to be filled up. We want our Goa to be green. That's where the role of government comes. The government should step in and stop hill cutting, stop construction on the hills, stop filling up the fields, encourage agriculture among the youth, and the government should stop tree cutting. They should grow more trees. They should plant more trees. Keep Goa green. Then the garbage. There should be a fine on the garbage. A person who is throwing garbage or littering, he should be fined because the traffic offenders are fined, but garbage offenders are not fined. So we have requested the government that they should be fined. So we are like, like the vigilance, like every time anything wrong is happening, like we are the firefighters or the whistleblowers, like we try to stop that from happening. So the government should do its job of preserving Goa's cultural identity, heritage, natural, cultural, and historic.
Okay, my last question to you. Any word of advice you would like to give to the locals of Goa in terms of preservation and conservation of the Goan legacy in total?
Yeah, first and foremost, the Goans should have a sense of pride in their history, in their culture. When we are agitating for Madai, I want the locals to join in to save the river because the river belongs to everybody. When we are trying to save a fort or a tree recently we filed a case in the court because a tree was being cut. We could save one tree, but one tree we could not save. If their feelings translate into action on the streets, if the youth come on the streets and try to save a fort or a tree or a hill or a palace or a historical site or a monument, then I think Goa will be saved because people come here to Goa to see the Indo-Portuguese heritage, the Indo-Portuguese culture, the Goan cuisine. That is also being diluted. There are a lot of dishes being sold as Goan which are originally not Goan. I mean, so all that we need to preserve our original idea. I'm saying this because I am a teacher of history. I want my history to be preserved and the heritage should be passed on to the future generations. So I request the locals to come and join and save Goa from extinction.
Okay, Dr. Prajal, it was a very insightful conversation. We loved it. Okay, thank you so much for taking out this time for us. Okay, it was an absolute pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. And in Goa, we say Dev Bare Koru.
Thank you so much. Thank you.